Rob Jacobson, Aaron Dykes, we're all in there on a Saturday afternoon, and my mother watches part of the intro, the part you just saw last hour, and she says, that can't be true. I know about eugenics and some of this, but it just can't be true. And my dad goes, actually, when I was at UT, before he was at UT, he was top of his class in high school. They had this advancement. They brought in several hundred students. He was in the top 6. They brought him aside, told him world government's coming. We want to advance you guys. Eugenics is good. And my dad told my mother that as we drove to the ballet recital, and her mouth was hanging open. They tell everybody this stuff. Every major university, that's all that's taught. Okay? And it teaches the so-called elitist, everybody who's got a high IQ, who gets advanced in these systems, that you're the best, you're going to survive, we're going to get rid of the profane. I mean, my father couldn't even go to UT as a high schooler and not be brainwashed about this. But he understood what it was because he was already so widely read. This is everything, okay? This is what they're doing. Now, let's go ahead and start playing this nightmare clip. And we have links to the group, the organization, all of it. This is part of the same affiliated group that put out the video of the kids' heads blowing off if they don't submit to carbon taxing. Here it is. This is not a joke. Here it is. Forum for the Future. Action for Sustainable World. How will the people travel in the cities of the future? This is the text. Mega cities on the move. Your guide to the future of sustainable urban mobility. Planned-opolis. One of 4 episodes. In a world of fossil fuels and expensive energy, the only solution is tightly planned and controlled urban transport. Global climate change. Deal imminent. This is news headlines. Joint venture to get city ready. Floating cities approved because of rising tides. Global food rations. Food to be planned. Welcome to the planned economy. Government takes over all food production.
Oh, hi. I'm so glad you're on time. I'm V. I'm looking forward to showing you around Planned-opolis today.
They show the subservient woman.
He works from home. He's a virtual engineer working on one of the city's desalination plants. He controls the robots who do all the important maintenance. I think he basically plays computer games for a living. You ready to go? Have you got your calorie card open on your smartphone?
Pause.
I registered your visit with Slick.
This was completely written by MI6. All of it has little psychological cues like, don't worry, you'll still have your video games. You look at her husband, he's jacked in like a cyborg because the oceans rose and destroyed everything. And this is still taught. Complete lie. They don't care. Let's continue.
Travel Corp the other day, so they've allotted you a journey time to match mine. It makes so much sense, doesn't it? Switch off brain and go to work. With this many people around, I'm glad there's a mega computer in charge.
Hit pause. But back it up a few seconds. Good job, guys. You notice all these movements we're just now hearing about a mega computer fairly giving out all the resources? Because the government's always real fair with their statistics and things. None of that would ever be gamed. Notice all the movements we hear about that are the big solution, that are supposedly grassroots, that the mainstream media then embraces, telling us how the mega computer will run everything. That stuff's 100 years old. That's what they plan. But then they have the grassroots put it out to make people think it's legitimate, that it's coming from the grassroots, as Cass Sunstein said they would do. Let's continue.
I'm glad there's a mega computer in charge. We're so lucky. Our kids were allocated a school quite near my practice, so I can drop them off on the way. It saves on our calorie ration. Well, it won't be long until the little darlings get their career announcements. They've been working so hard.
The little darlings get their career announcements. This is what Bill Gates is funding all over the world. The government and corporate sponsors will tell you what you're going to be. That's freedom, isn't it? The old caste society. And there's a calorie ration, and they've been allotted to be allowed to travel to work. They got to get an allotment every day. This is all going to happen. This is all going in. I have the New York Times from 2 days ago saying cameras will be everywhere watching us at all times. But don't worry, it's AI, so it's not violating your rights. Continue.
I'm sure they'll get something good. Not that there's anything wrong with fixing carbon scrubbers for a living or anything. Are you hungry? Let's pop to the market as we're passing. Right, what's on the menu this month? No, not meat. It's not your birthday. The Global Food Council are doing a really good job of keeping food production going. I mean, you don't get the choice you used to, but we're better off than most. I think it's probably easiest to walk from here. You barely see a car in the city centre nowadays, unless you're rich. Well, the state knows they just aren't practical anymore. We're all trying to meet our global carbon deal. Electric bikes are so much better for getting around our neighbourhood. And why waste valuable space on car parks when you can use them to grow food? I don't care what you say, Alex. They don't deserve to live in that ghetto. They are completely disconnected. No high-speed transport system, no new internet. They miss out on jobs and many essential services too. Oh, hi again. What a day. I had to make an emergency visit to the Cry Freedom ghettos. I mean, I miss my sister like mad, but I'm glad they went when they moved to New Amsterdam.
Hit pause. They even get you ready for everybody being put in the ghettos. If you don't like this, you go to a ghetto. But then you're also in a prison in the high-tech grid, so they even get you ready for that there's going to be people that won't like it. Like H.G. Wells said, there'll be many gallant, young, beautiful people that have to be killed for the New World Order to come in. So they're even getting you ready for that. We'll be right back.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
So they're taking their time brainwashing our children, getting their systems in place, passing their carbon taxes, and when our Congress won't pass laws that couple in with the new international agreements, the EPA just enforces it on states like Texas with no law. This is tyranny. And that's what they've said in the last year in the London Guardian and all over foreign news and here in the U.S. Oh, if the people won't go along with this, we've got to have it be authoritarian for their own good. This is just authoritarian control freaks posing as good guys and claiming they're trying to save you. Let's finish up with this bizarre one of 4-part brainwashing pieces of the world they're going to build. Let's continue.
Safe from climate change on the floating city. That must be her now. It's much easier to meet up with friends virtually now. So many cities have banned cars in central areas. Ooh, looks like she's got some juicy gossip.
Find out more about how we can live and travel in the cities of the future. Forumforthefuture.org. And they've got a bunch more of these nightmare videos of how cool it is that she's not allowed to travel unless she has authorization. And then Prince Charles addressed Austin last year and many other cities via hologram. You know, he addresses the city council and people and talks about how he doesn't travel for his carbon footprint. Meanwhile, he owns 2 private trains, scores of jet aircraft, tons of palaces. But then he does stunts about how he doesn't travel now, and how only essential travel should be allowed. Everything you see there is now being rolled out and promoted. Now I want to get into Paul Joseph Watson's articles on this, and I beg of you, make this the #1 search term today. And yes, Google blocks us out, so people won't be able to see it. You're all fully authorized to take these articles and post them on your site, your blog. Email them out to everyone you want. Prison cities. Prison cities is the search term. Prison cities. Let's fire another torpedo. Torpedo number 2, flooding chamber now. Fire! Eco-fascist. 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 And let's make them even madder. Let's show them the real power of the info warriors. Torpedo 1, prison cities. Torpedo 2, eco-fascist. Torpedo 3, prisonplanet.com. Hit them and hit them hard. They don't like it. Let's see if we can get 1, 2, and 3. We've gotten the top 3 in a row repeatedly. Maybe I should fire another torpedo. That's up to you if these torpedoes hit the enemy. Eco-fascists call for prison cities. Here's the article. Obey enviro-tyranny or be banished to a ghetto threatens new government-funded propaganda piece. Remember, the British invented concentration camps. They call them reservations here and in Africa. That's how you deal with it. People who resist, by the way, that came out of the eugenics plan. People who resist the state controlling every aspect of their existence will be forced to live in squalid ghettos, while the rest of the population will be tightly controlled in high-tech prison cities. That's the future envisioned by eco-fascists who are exploiting the contrived global warming fraud to openly flaunt their plan for total enslavement of mankind. And then I'm going to get into all the documents in the next segment of the actual physical tracking grid. The threat posed by the kind of scenario being promoted for the Forum of the Future, the group responsible for the chilling video below, cannot be emphasized enough. The dictatorial hellhole where cars will be banned, meat rationed, farming completely abolished, and overtaken by the state, behavior cataloged by calorie cards. And notice the EPA is now saying no dust is allowed from farming. You're farming. Big Agri gets a waiver. It's written where they can shut down your farm, your ranch, even the date tree in your backyard. It says Codex Alimentarius in the bill, UN. Everything they're passing is UN, 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 UN. See, when I read all of this, all of it's being phased in. Meat rationed, farming, the British government proposed that. Farming completely abolished and overtaken by the state. But that's Stalin. Behavior cataloged by calorie cards and careers ordained by the government is the ultimate goal of the control freaks who have seized the reins of the environmental movement. Nearly every aspect of the policies undertaken by the global dictatorship that runs the planned opolis depicted in the video are lifted wholesale from historical tyrannies. The state completely taking over the means of food production and farming. This is a throwback to the Soviet system of collectivized farming, where Stalin organized land and labor into large-scale collective farms. Farmers who resisted the state taking over their farms were arrested and sent to Siberian gulags, or the new cities, the ghettos. We're going to come right back. I mean, it is hardcore. This is the issue, not the scary Muslims in turbans they dance out on TV for you, openly run by the globalist.
Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
We are back live, ladies and gentlemen. So what they're doing is, in a fun little, happy, it's always presented by a woman who Hitler said, first you get the women, then you've got the children, so follow the men. Edward Bernays, the father of modern advertising, nephew of Sigmund Freud, said you get the women, they make 80% of the purchases. Still the same today. You get the women, then you've got the children, so follow the men. Women are at the center of the family and the center of culture. It's not that women are bad, it's that women are key. And they know that women on average are more conformist. And if things are presented in a happy-go-lucky way, they will do it. Aztec women would bring their child up, bind it, give it to the priest, and be happy that their newborn baby or their toddler, bound with a rock, was thrown into a deep chasm of water. That's how they like to kill kids, mainly. It's the same thing. This is how they do it. And so you notice the ads for high fructose corn syrup that they run. It's the woman with her boyfriend in idyllic pastoral scenes over and over again, different variants, or at a park or at a backyard party. And the woman's handing out the food, always in a position of authority. And she's the boss. And she tells her husband or her boyfriend,